Yo, what up?
What up?
Doing a recap on week four. Already, week four is already gone. Feel like it's about to
Yeah.
get interesting. Um, we have
Sad
enough
the season's
samples,
quarter of the way through.
quarter of the way through, but we have enough samples now. I feel that we can kind of make better decisions on some of these games. So the lines are going to get a lot better, though. That's for sure. Like, the books aren't going to be playing around as much,
For sure.
but there's still plays to be had. And talking about plays, the Dolphins, man, I feel like we hit that spot on. Did now I hope Levis is okay and all that, but Levis getting out of the game kind of helped us a little bit.
Yeah.
He threw that pick, which I'm not gonna put too much blame on him. He did throw it and all that, but it was a rough pick. Caught it with his legs. But he got out of the game, and that Titans offense is it's top notch, I think, and all they need is a good quarterback just navigating the ship, no mistakes, just simple throws, nothing crazy. Just get them downfield. That's all they need to do.
Yeah, and Mason Rudolph's time with Pittsburgh last year, he's been trained to make less mistakes, and
Yeah,
you saw it today. I mean, they put up points.
and it's crazy because like they're in a not the same system, but a similar system as the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like they rely on their defense to make the stops. They've got a decent run game, and they don't play anything fancy. They don't do any showy plays. They just simple football. So yeah, I feel like we hit it on the head with this one. The Titans went out, played good defense, scored some points. It was nice that we had +3 on our side, but we didn't even need it. The one that didn't go so well was the Seahawks game. It was a +5, and I'm not even upset about that one. I feel like we had a really good read on it. Jared Goff played a lot better. It seems like he's coming around. He had an okay game against Arizona, which I mean they're a bottom 10 defense, you know. But before that, he had two rough games where his passer rating was not that great. His completion percentage was not that great, and they were both home games,
Yeah.
right?
I think didn't I think he completed his first 16 passes at the minimum, and that was crazy to see.
That was nice, and don't get me wrong, the Seahawks had the opportunity to get it within 5, if not win the game, right? Even with DK's fumble and being down 20 or was it 14 points at the half,
Yeah.
they came back out strong, stayed there with them, and they had 3 or so possessions within the last 10 minutes of the game to go out there, tie the game, or even take the lead, and they couldn't finish, right? There was a couple penalties there with Lockett, some potential pass interference, whatever the case may be. They couldn't finish, right? And that's just football, right? You had the right read, it just sometimes it delivers, sometimes it doesn't. So, like I said, I'm not too mad about it. So
Yeah.
on to
Still
the next week.
still up on the year, up on the week.
Up on the week, one unit every week will get us 14 units at the end of the year, 15 units plus playoffs, right?
Yep.
So it's all about the long game. What's up with them props though?
Oh man, the props. I mean, just to touch on the other ones. Jalen Waddle, he came short 2 yards.
That was rough, man.
JSN, his line moved right before I took it up a yard, and we missed that by half a yard.
Yeah, so depending on when you got that one, because I hit that. I
Yeah,
got it at 50 and a half. He got it at 51. We just got it at different times. The Waddle one sucked because he got like a 21-yard pass like right off the gate. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God. Conley's
yeah,
about to just cook these guys.
yep. So I feel like I had a good read on those. Um, we did get a rescue on Levis rush yards with HN under rush yards, so we would have liked to cash it, but we'll come back on that. And then we did hit Charbonnet over receiving yards and Montgomery over fantasy points. So, at the worst, break even right there. I did put this in-game parlay in. I was putting the kid to bed when I put it in, so I didn't get it posted on Twitter.
Yo,
Yep.
this struggle's real, man. For real.
Yeah. I was cooking in the lab though. We got Ken Walker, 16 and a half reception yards. JSN 6.5 receptions. Goff under 20 and a half completions. I was sweating that one till the end.
Yeah,
So cooking in the lab, we cashed that one pretty big. So we're up 12 units on picks on the day, on pick'ems, on props rather. So I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. Kind of got bailed out with the halftime bet, but nonetheless,
no,
up quite a bit.
yeah, that was nice, especially with that boost.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah,
50% boost on this too. So
and honestly, even if you took these lines individually, they still would have cooked. You still would have been up a good amount, right? So
yeah,
it's all green right now. It's all green, and it's like I said, just consistency. Don't want to go too crazy, which I did last night with that Bills game. I was having a good afternoon. I was like, let me sprinkle a little bit, and it brought it down a little. But it is what it is.
yep.
So
I got cooked on at the half on that. So overall, we put 13 lines in for props. Three of them missed. One got refunded. So that's 9 hits out of 13. 9 hits out of 12, really.
yeah,
75% hit rate.
pretty freaking solid right now, honestly.
Yeah,
Um, Going into next week, man, and I mean, let's start. We can start with just the game on Thursday. You got the Bucks and the Falcons, man. Probably. I mean, I'm really excited for this game because this is probably the two one of are the two favorite teams, right? Our two favorite teams right now.
yeah,
I love the Baker story. I've been following him since he was with the Browns, Carolina, and when he landed the Bucks, I was excited for him. And I like Falcons. I like the Falcons. They picked up Kirko, and I feel like that's what they needed to make a solid run into the playoffs. And I think it's paying dividends. I mean, Buddy's doing what he has to do. He's had a couple late fourth quarter drives to
yeah.
get him either in range of field goal or win the game potentially. And
3 weeks in a row, he's put us in position.
yeah, so that's more than the last couple quarterbacks that the Falcons have had can say. You know, so but it's gonna be a good game, good divisional game. Um, I was gonna take the Bucks +3 last night. I'm sad I didn't because the line moved so much already to +1.5. And my reason behind it, right, was divisional game, two solid teams right now, right? You're giving me 3 points. And even though the Falcons pass rush is getting better, I think that the Bucks have seen a lot worse. And if you give Baker a clean pocket, I mean, Buddy has the options to cook, and Bucky Irvin's come is up and coming. He's doing well. I'm not saying that the offense on the Bucks is better than the Falcons offense because the Falcons are up and coming too. Mooney and Kirko are having great connections, and Algier and Robinson are the perfect 1-2. What I will say is I'm looking at the over a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I kind of like it at 43. I'm waiting to see if it comes down a little bit more. It was at 44.5, I believe is what it opened at. Down to 43.5. But I can see both of these teams get down the field and at least get in range of making points. A couple touchdowns here and there.
yeah. I I think the only reason that line's as low as it is for the over is both teams have two running backs now
Hmm.
with the emergence of Bucky Irving.
Yep.
So I don't really expect it to be a run heavy game, but maybe Vegas sees them not airing it out too much.
And see, the thing is 84% of the money and bets are on the over. So that's one of the things that scares me. It being a divisional game, a matchup, kind of scares me as well.
Yeah,
And it's a short week too, right?
I mean, we just
Um,
saw what happened last Thursday. Was
yeah.
35-point total.
hmm And the thing is, if you look at, I mean, the Bucks did a pretty good job of containing Saquon, other than that one breakout run, right? So the Bucks defense is looking a little better. I don't know, man. What you thinking, bro? It's essentially a pick'ems and the over. I mean, I do feel like the total's priced pretty good, right?
Oh,
There's an argument for both sides.
it stresses me out that the Falcons have this many primetime games this year.
It's insane, dude. And with the quarterback that's like so called not the prime time
Yeah,
quarterback. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
primetime Kurt. um, I gotta pick Falcons here. I think it's gonna be a close game, but the Falcons' offense has looked better every week. Drake
Yeah.
London, Drake London has done better every week. He's gotten more targets, and he just might have a heyday.
Yeah.
I
And
don't know. I don't know if that secondary can stop both him and Mooney.
and the thing is, I mean, the line might be short enough to where I might consider the Falcons, but the only reason I was skeptical about taking the Falcons at -3 or even -2 is these guys are like the kings of like fucking out those short spreads. Like if there's a -3 against a shitty team, they'll win by one or two. And that this is going back to
Yeah,
last year. Any close spread game, the Falcons would not cover. They might win the game, but they wouldn't cover. So that's my other thing with it. I'm gonna have a play for it, whether it's like an alternate line under, and a plus $7 or something, right? Uh, but I will have a line by the game for
yeah.
sure.
And I mean, just looking at the schedules for both these teams, who they've played. I mean, Bucks played the Commanders week 1, so
Yeah,
they I think they lucked out. I don't know if they'd beat the Commanders yesterday. That would be a good game. I mean, they beat the
it would.
Lions. They beat the Eagles without AJ Brown and Devonta Smith.
Yeah,
They
it
lost to the
wasn't.
Broncos.
You know what? That's one game I wanted to talk to you about because we all shit on the Broncos, but their defense is looking legit. I mean, how many more teams do they have to go through until we say, "Yo, this Broncos team it's real." Like their
Yeah,
defense, at least.
yeah.
Um, I will say though, I'm looking at this line for the Raiders, and I'm kind of liking the +3, man.
The Raiders, huh?
Yeah. I'm not taking
Oh
it yet.
wow, yeah.
I'm not taking it yet, but the Raiders defense it's a decent unit. They're ranked ninth in third down conversion, 18th in red zone efficiency versus a 31st to the Broncos, 14th in first down. Um, I mean, they got the hurries, they got the hits.
That's it's tough. I know why the line has moved. Adams and Crosby, probably two of their best players, are
So Adams is probably
questionable.
out
Yeah,
because he apparently there's a lot of trade talks about around him, man.
yeah.
Crosby's saying that he's going to play for this game, so that's nice. But I mean, again, the Broncos defense is great. It really comes down to the offense if they're able to score. And if Crosby's out there pressuring, um, Bo
Yeah.
Nix,
And Bo Nix is he's quick. He's gotten some good runs this year, but
he has he's
Crosby's a
like the leading
different
rusher.
beast. He's a different beast than some other dudes he's played against.
That's true. I will tell you though, I did take two lines already. I took the Vikings -2.5, I'm riding with the Vikings until they give me a reason not to. Um, I think that this line is a slight overreaction, but I can definitely see Vikings winning by a field goal with the weapons that they have. I think it's just too much for the Jets defense, which is just not looking all that great. I mean, they haven't really even played that many good teams. They played like the last two opponents, what the Patriots and the Broncos. You know,
Yeah,
they didn't even do that great against Tennessee. You know, they gave up
got
17 points.
bailed out by Levis.
They got bailed out by Levis, right? So I'm gonna keep taking these Minnesota short lines until the books start reacting. I know it was getting closer on that Green Bay game, but I just feel like they let off the throttle there. They're just like going into the half with a major lead. They're like, whatever,
Yeah,
like and as soon as they got close, like Minnesota turned it back up. So
no,
I took this. I put 0.75 units on it just because it's a minus two or 2.5. I don't want to. It can be a slight overreaction, and I don't want to just go all in on that. The other one that I have right now as well is the Saints and Chiefs, and I've got the under on that game. The reason why, I feel like they started figuring out a little bit more what they can do to contain Carr and Kamara. Um, the Saints are dealing with a shit ton of injuries right now, both on the defensive end and offensive end. And Spagnoli is a great defensive coordinator that is probably going to just take care of Carr. Uh,
do you have any thoughts on the spread on that game?
I like and New Orleans at plus 5.5, but Spagnoli's just such a great defensive coordinator
Yeah,
that I can, and their defense is as it is, it's like a good defense. I'm not, you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah.
like pulling them up right now. They're ninth in red zone efficiency, 14th in third down conversion, 15th in first downs. They're eighth against the rush. They're 24th in the passing yards, but that was the one thing I was going to talk about right now was Rice is out, right? Pacheco's out. They don't have Hollywood Brownie. All they really have is Worthy. So, or actually, sorry, that's on the opposite side. But
Well, I
what's it called?
mean,
Even with the Saints, I mean, they don't have Tatum Hill or Taysom Hill,
yeah,
right? He's injured. Alvin Kamara's got a broken rib. Olave's in a boot.
yeah.
So with the defense being as good as it is, New Orleans being banged up, and then on the opposite side, Kansas City being banged up. I mean, I can see them run the ball with Kareem Hunt as much as they can, drop a couple, pass plays to Kelsey, and try to control the game that way. So the total sitting at 42.5 right now. I wish I got it at 43, but it is what it is. Those are the two that I have right now. There's a few that I like still.
Yeah, let me hit you with a
Go ahead.
couple of these. Cowboys at Steelers. Cowboys are plus 2.5 is what I'm looking at.
Yep.
That that seems a little crazy to me. I know Fields has looked really good. I know the Cowboys haven't looked great. Am I crazy thinking that the Cowboys are gonna go to Pittsburgh and win a game?
I mean, I think that the thing is there. You've got Watt going up against a team that doesn't really have a run game, and Dak isn't the most mobile quarterback. Like, I mean, he's not a Kirk Cousins, but you know what I mean. He ain't no Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
I do think that it's a little swayed, especially considering Pittsburgh just lost against the Colts.
yeah.
I was looking at it for sure. I was looking at it, so if I can get a field goal, I might sprinkle some money on that. Um, but yeah,
You
I
know,
like it.
I guess just thinking about it, Micah's hurt, Trayvon Diggs is hurt,
Lawrence is hurt.
Demarcus Lawrence is hurt, so
Yeah, that was the other thing is that defense is banged up, dude. Like bad for the next couple of weeks. Remember, that's actually remember we were watching the game and I texted you. I was a lot like, "Yo, I wonder what the
yeah.
line's gonna be for the next game. Like we might jump on that shit right away."
And it's moved since we looked.
hmm
So I guess maybe that one's a wash. We might want to come back to that one. Uh,
Uh,
I mean, this other one I was looking at, I think biggest spread of the week right here. Cards at Niners.
yeah,
Debo's probably coming back.
yeah. Debo's coming back. Um,
Cards are
Mc-
plus 7.5.
McBride might come back. Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, it's another
Well,
divisional matchup.
okay. Debo did come back, but
He's probably gonna have more play time.
yeah, he'll
Yeah,
be more heavily involved in the game plan. That one, I almost like the 7.5 just because that's a full touchdown and a half point.
yeah. I think. I mean, I think that they're looking at the Cardinals' defense just being dog.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I mean? And I mean, don't get me wrong; it's a big number to lay on a team that can produce some offensive yards pretty quickly. So it's definitely one to watch.
Yeah. It could be a get right spot for the Niners.
Yeah,
You
coming
know.
back from those injuries and all that.
Yeah.
Um,
And there was one other one I wanted to ask you about.
bro, Commanders -3.5 against the Browns. I know Njoku's coming back
Yeah.
potentially, but do you just kind of jump on the Commanders train here? And I mean, it's getting to the point where you can potentially get it at -3 because the -3.5 is +100 right now.
Yeah.
So I can see a -3 coming here soon at like -120.
Yeah. I'm seeing it mixed -3, -3.5. So
I
that's
kind of like
fair.
that. I feel like there's not much to say about that game other than the offense on Washington side's cooking and
Hmm.
Deshaun Watson and the Browns fucking offense is looking like dog shit. They can't protect Deshaun. Amari Cooper looks like a fucking first year receiver out there dropping passes left and right. I'm not even like I'm gonna spread the blame when it's deserved. And right now, Deshaun Watson is looking okay. His receivers aren't doing much for him right now, especially specifically Amari Cooper.
I'll tell you this. There was one thing I did like watching in that Browns Raiders game. Deshaun Watson was finally fired up. And that was the first time I've seen him
Mhm.
like getting after his players for making mistakes in I don't know how long.
Yeah,
So
no, for sure.
his head's almost back in it. He's been playing better, like you said. He's not making a ton of mistakes.
Yeah,
Even to start the year, it looked rough, but
yeah.
the last
He just
couple
doesn't have an O
weeks,
line.
yeah,
He just doesn't have an O line, and he's kind of short on receivers. I mean, yeah, sure they have Judy and but Amari's just dropping too many easy passes, man.
yeah,
Or you know, funny enough, I saw a post saying, "Yo, talks that Chiefs are looking at Amari Cooper." I was like, "Why the fuck would they go for Amari Cooper, bro? Like, of all the receivers they can go for right now, like really Amari of all of them? Come
yeah. And I know
on,
there's been a lot of Tyreek talk too. I don't,
bringing him back,
yeah, I don't know about that. The guy I'm thinking in my head is
Devontae.
is the guy they avoid signing. I think it was 2 years ago.
Oh,
DeAndre Hopkins.
that could be a
Get him
good
off the
one.
Titans.
I don't know if the Titans let him go, dude.
Why
I
not?
think because, dude, they just found Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, bro. He's about to make Christmas happen in Tennessee.
All right, all right.
Nah, I mean, I feel like it's more reasonable to get Hill or Devontae. because they're both in teams where they're not really playoff contenders anymore, or just yet,
Yeah,
right? Tua being out and them trying to search for a quarterback right now can frustrate Hill maybe and Devontae. I mean, unless Vegas finds a quarterback as well, I don't see them being a playoff team in
man.
that division at least either.
I'd hate to see Devontae on the Chiefs, but as a football
Oh,
fan, I'd love to watch it.
that shit would be nasty, bro.
Yeah,
I do have two other lines that I want to talk to you about. The Carolina Panthers +4 against the
that
Bears.
that was the one I was looking at.
Williams played slightly better. He didn't make dumb plays, but holy fuck, can he not throw right now?
Yeah,
He has no accuracy.
yep.
And I mean, sure, the Panthers lost last week, but dude, they're putting up points.
I'll tell you what about the Panthers. Um, I did go out on a limb 2 weeks ago, and I picked them over the Raiders, which
Yeah, we talked about it
we did talk
right
about
here.
that on here. Yep. And last week I did have the Bengals -4.5,
Yeah.
purely purely because they were 0-3. Like
Mhm.
they had to play good, and they did. But you look at Panthers versus Bears, you're giving me +4. I don't I don't see why you wouldn't want to take this line, right?
No, yeah, seriously. And I mean, the thing is, I mean, it's hard looking at the numbers because the first two games were Bryce Young games where I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw negative numbers in some of those games. Um, but the fact that they were as bad as they were, or they were, and then now you're 11th in red zone efficiency for the Panthers.
That's
They
crazy.
weren't they weren't getting into the red zone with Bryce Young.
So that's an accurate number.
That's an accurate number right there.
Season
Third down,
long.
what's not an accurate number? Third down conversions and first down conversions, right? They're ranked 27th now. Which not great, but when you had probably zero or maybe one or two first down conversions in the first 2 weeks,
Yeah. Probably 20
that's not
punts first 2 weeks.
yeah. Um, they're not having as many turnovers. They're 16th now. Yards per play 21st at 4.8, and their rushing yards is at they're 18th in rushing, right? So
Yeah, the run game has opened up with Dalton under center.
yeah, and they're protecting the quarterback. I mean, they're 10th in sacks, eight or fourth in QB hits, 15th in QB hurries, and second in tackles for loss. Don't get me wrong, the Bears are like middle of the pack when it comes on to the defense on rushing the quarterback. But from what I can see here, they're going to be able to keep Dalton pretty clean, and therefore I think he'll be able to make some decent passes. And again, and then once you throw in the fade of Williams in there as well, plus
Yeah.
four doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
that's kind of what I was going to lean on. I mean, if they can protect Dalton, this is a solid Bears defense,
hmm
but he's a veteran. So if he's not under duress every single play, he's going to make some good reads. And, like you said, fade Caleb right now until
yep,
until he looks like Jaden Daniels.
bro. I don't know if that's gonna happen this year.
Probably not.
um, Sweet. So I think I'll sprinkle some money on the +4 there. I like it.
Yeah.
The last one I kind of wanted to talk about, and I like it because it's getting up on that +100 range as well. So we might see a three here. Is -3 Green Bay Packers. Um, I feel like this might be a slight overreaction. God, there's another one where there's like, oh, actually, I'll talk to you about it. Never mind. There's one more after this. Sorry. Um, but Green Bay Packers. I mean, they came back in the second half. Love is probably going to look a little better. And I mean, aside from that, this is still the Green Bay Packers
Yeah,
team. I mean,
yeah.
they're second in rushing yards, second in yards per play, seventh in passing yards, 11th in first downs. I mean, it's a solid squad on the
I
offense, and
mean,
defensively, they're all right.
yeah, this is a team some people did have picked to at least make the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
And if you're giving me -3, -3.5 against a Rams team that's just decimated right now,
Yeah.
I know, I know we don't want to fade Stafford and McVay, but
And for the record, right, I mean, I went full I placed that +3 bet for the Rams, solely fading Williams. And up until the end, I mean, the Rams were doing pretty decent,
yeah,
right? Stafford just threw a couple picks, had a fumble,
yep,
um, but they were containing him pretty well going into the second half, and then it was just too much. You just saw like the offense and defense break in the second
yeah,
half. Really, the third, fourth quarter, going to the fourth quarter, it was just too much for them.
not enough
Right?
bodies.
Not enough bodies. There's not enough plays they can run with what they have. Um, the pressure got to them, and that O line is ranked like bottom half, right? And now you're telling me that this fucking potential Super Bowl contender team is only going to lay -3 with an extra week of rest for J Love. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a bad spot. It would be nice if you could catch the -3.
I mean, if you don't see it move to a -3, or you start seeing the line move up to like almost 4, hey, fucking buy yourself a 3, whatever.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Um, but the last game I kind of want to touch on a little bit, and again, this right here might be an overreaction. Is plus +1 Buffalo Bills. Um, I think this is a huge fucking overreaction here,
yeah,
mainly because the Texans just came back and beat the Jags, which the Jags have their own issues, right? Mainly at the quarterback position. And I mean, we all saw the Bills get ran through Sunday night. This Baltimore team, I think, realistically speaking, if we're going to talk about that game, I think the Derrick Henry opening drive for a
yeah,
fucking touchdown gave the Ravens enough momentum to the half. Then you started seeing Buffalo come back, and that trick play that they try to
yep,
run just shut down all momentum they had, and
yeah.
it was over after that.
100%. I think that Derrick Henry run just completely opened up the game plan for the Ravens.
Yep.
And, couple bad drives early for the Bills, couple bad play calls.
Mhm.
It kind of
Took them way
sealed the
too long
deal.
to adjust. Way too long to adjust. They came back out in the second half and were able to like they kind of not. I'm not gonna say they shut down the Ravens, but for a minute there, they were giving the Ravens issues.
Yeah,
Um, but now you're telling me that this Texans team that hasn't really looked all that well, you know, they had a close game against the Bears, a close game against the Colts, a
yep,
close game against the Jags, is gonna come in here and just wreck the Bills.
yeah.
Or not wreck the Bills, but it's -1. It's a pick 'em at this point, right?
Yeah, it's a pick 'em for sure. But like you said, I mean, going back to what I said probably 2 weeks ago, CJ Stroud is in his sophomore slump. They've got
Mhm.
footage on him. He's still a good quarterback, but you kind of expect more from this offense. Maybe Tank Dell kind of unlocks that. Maybe Joe Mixon does. But if neither of them are coming back at 100%, it's kind of hard to just write off the Bills in this matchup.
Yeah. So Bernard's questionable now, which is good considering it's only Monday. I think so. Tank Dell is questionable. Joe Mixon is questionable. Damian Pierce is questionable.
Yeah.
Tunsil is questionable. Ward's questionable. So I'm not gonna take this line just yet. I feel like if Dell comes back, Mixon comes back, we can potentially catch a +3 on this,
Yeah.
unless big money just starts hammering the Bills here. Which I mean, right now, don't take this too heavily, but you've got 49% of the bets are on the Bills, while almost 80% of the money is on the Bills for the spread. And a lot of the money's coming in on the Bills just on the money line because it's a pick 'em. So there's that. Um, but yeah, we ran through a couple of the games. Really just talked about spreads. Really haven't talked too much about the over unders. We'll start talking about those. I feel like we don't really hit those enough.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll like pregame a little bit next time and talk a little bit more about the totals. I feel like there's some value in some of these.
There's
Um,
uh there's one other game,
what's up, bro?
just looking at it, that I'm curious about. What's your take on Dolphins +1 versus the Pats?
That's nasty, bro. I don't want to talk about that. um, you see, like every time I find a point to say, "Oh yeah, let me go Dolphins," I find a point. Oh, let me go Patriots, and I don't
I
know.
mean, I'll tell you straight up. I like the Pats here
You
at
like the
home.
Pats?
At home.
That's funny because I was gonna say I kind of like the Dolphins if they're able to give Huntley another week, but
Maybe it is disgusting.
dude, it really is, bro. Yo, we need a third person for some of these right now, dude. I swear,
Yeah.
because you know, I'm trying to convince myself one way or the other here. The only thing I'll say is the Pats they do an okay job against teams that aren't doing too well.
hmm
Um, but then against teams that have their shit together, good luck.
Let me check one thing on here. Jalen Phillips. I know he left the game today, didn't he? For the Dolphins.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna have. Let me see here. Questionable 4 hours, right knee.
Knee.
He
So
tweaked his knee. That's it.
I mean, I
But
don't I don't know if they can give Brissett some time. I mean, it's the reason I'm looking at the Pats here is, maybe their defense isn't as good as the Titans, but mistake-free football versus this Dolphins team with no Tua is a pretty solid formula. And
yeah,
maybe Huntley does look better, but I didn't see anything promising from tonight.
yeah. It's just, dude. The problem is that the Dolphins run so many motions. It's hard for a quarterback to just come in after like a week or two and like I got all this shit down. Because I think Huntley, I honestly think Huntley should take um Skylar Thompson's job easily. I think he
Yeah,
brings more. He brings more to the team from that, or to the team from the quarterback position with the run as well. Um, but again, that offense seems like it can be very complex. And you saw like Hill had a wide open touchdown. He cooked Snead in one of those in like the first quarter, but Huntley was just not on the same page with him and underthrew it, and it wasn't even a catch at the end of the day.
yeah.
Right?
And there was one at the end of the game almost when he overthrew Tyreek.
Yeah.
So
So there's a lot of questions. I think if I did have to pick a side, I think it's a little too early to go Huntley and Dolphins. I agree with you. I think the Patriots are the pick here. Um, because they're a unit right now. Brissett though, man, dude, like I like seeing him more and more. I understand why he doesn't have a starting job,
Yeah.
or he barely has one right now. They're really just he's literally a meat shield right now until they get a better O line so that they can put their fucking their rookie quarterback in there, which probably happen next year, honestly. But
Yeah. What do
um,
you got on the over for that game? What's the point total?
the point total is it's 35 and a half.
35 and a half. That's what I was going to say. I mean, do you look at that and say Dolphins offense can be explosive, Patriots offense might be able to move the ball against the Dolphins, or is this
I
just going to
mean,
be another 12-9 game?
well, we know the Patriots can score points,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the only team that really shut them out was the Jets,
Yeah.
I believe. Let's see here.
I mean, 13 on the Niners, 16 on the Bengals, 23 or 20 against the Seahawks, 3 versus the Jets.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you aside from that Jets game, they have enough to cover their half of the points. Can the Dolphins? Can the Dolphins do it though against this Patriots defense, which is
Yeah.
all right?
That's kind of a shit show.
Yeah. I appreciate the fact that we tried though. We spent a solid minute trying to
Yeah.
find an angle for this game, and it's
Yeah.
just not happening. So, um, circling back to the beginning, since uh this is going to be the most recent game that's going to come up is the Bucks and the Falcons. Man, I mean, I'm sitting here and I'm just trying to figure out an angle, dude, because like we were talking, like I mean, when we're trying to find a pick 'em,
Yeah.
we can go and say, yo, both of these offenses are decent. The Bucks defense is maybe a little less, suited to face all the offensive weapons that the Falcons have. But at the same time, the Falcons don't have a pass rush that should worry Baker.
Yeah.
I can see this be a high scoring game, but then we talked about the red zone efficiency, and the Falcons are 12th, but the Bucks are 11th.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of is like, okay, well, that's kind of leaning for the over.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at it, we did run through some picks. I mean, just right down below us, we've had
Mhm.
up Kirk Cousins. We had a free bet on it. K to Otten over 3.5 catches. He's
Yeah.
been cooking lately, and
Let me pull up the.
I
You can
mean,
go ahead.
Falcons aren't too great against tight ends, so that's what we've got locked in right now for our milk money.
Yeah.
But I mean, just some other lines we were looking at. Baker Mayfield over 240. We're on
Yep.
both sides of that one. We think one of us thinks over, one of us thinks under,
Yeah.
and
And
it's all down to the game script. And just because it's the
mhm,
Falcons and it's my team, I'm probably not gonna lay too much on this game as
mhm.
far as props go. I mean,
I
you
mean,
look at Chris Godwin. It's getting a little cooked now,
it
but
is.
it you could still play the over here. So I mean, what do you think?
I'm gonna. I think that Godwin's too close to call. I like the under on that one just because I know the Falcons have a solid safety cornerback combination, and so I mean
Yeah,
he's getting the targets, but he's gonna have to be catching at a 70% rate to
yep,
convert,
at
and
least,
so at least right. I like the odd one because he's been getting a lot more targets at the last two games. So against Denver, he got 8 targets, caught 7 of them, and then against Philly, he got 9 targets, caught 6 of them. And then if you're going up against Atlanta, against wide receivers, receptions allowed are 27th. So that's kind of what I was talking about, where they play deep. They don't let you get the big yards, but you can throw against this Atlanta offense, right?
yep,
And then once you get to that red zone, that's when they kind of just collapse on you and shut down the whole thing. But against tight ends, they're 21st, right?
yeah,
So I see the value there for Otten. I think that's why we both agree that that's the pick to go with the free pick 'em. especially sitting at 3.5. He didn't get a lot of targets in week one and two, but I think that they're starting to see him as a third weapon, a third option, and these tight ends. I mean, a lot of times they're not contested. They're not contested. You know, receptions. They just sit in the middle in zone coverage, and they just get an easy, 8 yards, 9 yards. Call it good.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of what I'm struggling with here. Just kind of with stuff you've mentioned. You mentioned the Falcons secondary. You look at Mike Evans. We're looking at this Monday night, so the lines are gonna move. But Mike Evans, 4.5 catches, 62.5 yards. I was hoping to find an under on Mike Evans, honestly, but I don't feel comfortable laying money on either of those.
So
Kyle
he
Pitts,
gets
yeah, Kyle Pitts
so
just put up a dud. Like,
yeah. So with Mike Evans, his receptions, he's 2-2 right now. Uh, Washington, he got 5. Detroit, he got 3. Denver, he got 2. Which
yeah,
I mean, we know why.
yeah,
Um, and then Philly, he got 8.
yeah,
Right, he's getting 25% of the target share, or 23%. Sorry. That's probably because Otten started taking up a lot of. He went up to 16%, and that was in the last 2 weeks. But I like. I mean,
yeah.
really,
I
I have
do,
this line
I
here at
do
three and a
like.
half.
You got 3.5.
Oh, you know what? Never mind though. That's at a 280.
I do. I don't mind 4.5 receptions, but he is gonna have AJ Terrell on him, and he's gonna have a safety shadowing him. So I
Hmm.
mean,
Him and Godwin both. So that's why I think that
yeah,
Otten's is. And again, I mean, I kind of again I like it in a way because receptions allowed to wide receivers, or receptions. Sorry, Atlanta receptions defense, right? Overall receptions allowed, they're ranked 27th. Um, Passing though, they are ranked 13th, right? So what that tells me is they'll give you the easy passes. You're not going to get anything else though.
yeah,
So I feel like the reception line is definitely the way to go here versus a total line for yards, and that's one of the reasons why I like Baker Mayfield. Right, start them on the 20th yard line on their own 20th, whatever. Have them run down to the 30 to the Atlanta 30 or 20th, score a field goal, and then rinse and repeat. Right, throw a couple Bucky Irving. I mean, 240 is kind of high up there, especially for his recent games. Um, but maybe if it comes down, maybe I'll jump on it. But I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I said last week Bucky Irving, once his line hits 40, I'm gonna struggle with it. It's at 40
Yeah.
and a half. You know, I can't take that one either, honestly. It's literally a split backfield as close as it could be last week. And,
Hmm.
at that
Yeah.
point, I might as well just take Rashad White 33 and a half.
Yeah. White looked a lot better last week. Um, I think that Bucky getting a lot more snaps kind of told me, "Oh, I got to step it the fuck up before I lose my job to this rookie."
Speaking on that, I might craft something up Rashad White over 33 and a half rush yards.
Yeah. And in if it makes you feel better, Atlanta's allowed, or they're tied for 25th, allowing 145 yards. So their run defense isn't the best.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, there's a couple plays we can make. Um, we talked a little bit about field goals potentially as well. So I don't know. Let's uh let's look at the lines tomorrow and see if we can cook something up.
Yep. Well,
Shaw man.
we'll get the milk money somehow.
Yes, sir. You got anything else to add, bro?
I think that covers it. It's gonna be
Yep.
it's gonna be a good Thursday night divisional game. I'm
It
excited.
is. It is. I kind of just want to enjoy it more than actually like stress out about, picks and
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely bring something, and then just like I said, enjoy the game and have, hopefully a good week, man.
for
I think
sure.
there's plays to be made in this week's slate. So let's see what happens.
Yep. That'll wrap up our week 4 recap, week 5 preview, and we'll be back at it before the
Yep.
weekend comes and give you the rest of our thoughts.
Yo, make sure to hit us up on Twitter or X and TikTok. That's where we're dropping a lot of these plays. It's very easy for us. We like to do explanations on some of them. On some of them, we just drop the picks, right? And then on TikTok, we just try to keep it simple. We'll drop the tickets and then just tail them, right? If you guys don't like them, you don't have to tail them, but maybe you'll find something that you like, and it's enough for you to be like, all right, screw it, let me make the jump on this. So
Yep.
yeah, give us a follow, and honestly, if we keep this up, I mean, shit, we're gonna have to start charging these motherfuckers, man. This shit ain't free.
Yep, yep.
We'll
Especially
start.
especially when NBA finals roll around.
Yeah, we're gonna have that Discord going.
Yep.
Nah, but we'll figure something out because there's been a couple plays that we've been doing in the shadows that have been hitting, right? And we'll just post a ticket later. Um, it's kind of hard to get to all of them, so yeah, maybe we'll make it to like, yo, this is the banger play, and anybody that's on the Discord will get it. So we're still working those details out, but that's something to come.
Yeah. Discord will be out pretty soon. I'd give it middle of the season, and we'll make sure you guys got access to it somehow.
Yeah, especially because again, we want to have enough data to back some of these things up, not just go off of hunches and stuff. And I think after week 4, we'll be able to make a better decision on some of these games.
Yeah. Let's cash out
So
this milk money.
yes, sir. Y'all take it easy. Let's have a good week. We'll catch you guys probably after that Thursday night game. But follow us to get those picks for the Thursday night game. All right.
Yep.